Usually when you go to the doctor looking for diagnosis, you kind of expect something totally visually concrete.
Right, like an X-ray or something.
Yeah, exactly. An X-ray showing a fracture or, I don't know, a blood test that flags some elevated enzyme. We basically want to see the broken parts so we can fix it.
Oh, absolutely. It's very comforting to have that singular villain, you know. We want to point to the scan and just say, there is the enemy.
Right. But today, we're doing a custom-tailored deep dive into a medical framework that, well, it completely flips this entire paradigm on its head.
It really does. It's a massive shift.
Yeah. We are unpacking an incredibly detailed source today, Chapter 27 of a major medical text that breaks down the pathology of full and empty conditions in Chinese medicine.
And for you listening, if you want to grasp complex systems quickly, our mission today is really to decode this fascinating framework.
Because it views the human body not just as some, like, static machine with broken gears, but as a totally active, breathing battlefield.
Yes, a battlefield between disease and your own internal resistance.
And the craziest part is that diagnosing the precise state of this specific battle, it dictates everything about the approach to healing.
Because, and this is the real hook here, if you treat a disease the wrong way in this system, like, say, giving someone strengthening herbs at the wrong time, you can actually make things so much worse.
Wait, really? Just by getting the timing wrong?
Oh yeah, it's entirely about timing and balance. If you misread the battlefield, your treatment basically becomes a weapon for the other side.
Wow. Okay, so before we can understand how to actually treat the body, we need to meet the combatants, the two opposing forces fighting for control.
Right, so on one side you have pathogenic factors.
Which they call Z-key, right?
Exactly, Yi-key. And that broadly means any disease-causing agents, the invaders.
Gotcha. And on the other side?
On the other side is the upright qi, or zhengqi.
Upright qi. Okay, let's unpack this. Because when I hear this, my Western brain instantly goes, oh, it's just germs versus the immune system. Is that basically it?
Well, no, it's so much broader than that. I mean, it's a common comparison, but upright qi isn't just your white blood cells.
What else is it then?
It represents literally all of the body's resistance to disease. So that includes all types of qi, all your blood, the strength of your digestion, your organ function. Everything.
Oh, wow. So it's like the entire energetic and physical budget of the whole body.
Exactly. It's your total vitality. And on the flip side, pathogenic factors aren't just viruses or bacteria either.
Okay, what are they?
They include environmental forces, weather conditions, and even internal blockages that your own body accidentally creates.
Okay, so it's a much wider lens.
Very much so. And the core principle of treatment, like the golden rule of this entire text, is that diagnosing the relative strength between these two forces is the single most important factor.
Right, because if you mess that up,
disaster. It is completely wrong, for instance, to tonify or strengthen the upright qi if the condition is what they call full.
Meaning the pathogen is dominating the fight?
Right. If you give tonics when a pathogen is actively attacking, you're just feeding the enemy. You're giving them fresh supply lines.
Yikes. So it's like throwing food over the castle walls, but to the invading army.
Precisely. And conversely, it's completely wrong to try and aggressively expel pathogens if the condition is empty, meaning the weakness is dominating. You'll just destroy whatever tiny bit of resistance the patient has left.
Because they're already exhausted.
Exactly.
Okay, so we know who is fighting.
Yeah.
But let's look at where these pathogenic factors actually come from. Because they aren't always outside invaders breaching the walls.
Right. Though let's start with the outside ones, the external factors, just to set the baseline.
Okay.
These come from the environment. So we're talking about wind, dampness, summer heat, and cold. And usually they invade the exterior of the body first.
It's like getting a stiff neck after standing in a cold breeze.
Exactly. But there is a huge exception to this rule in the text, and it's fascinating. There are 3 specific cases where environmental cold completely bypasses the exterior muscles and goes straight to the interior.
Wait, it just skips the outer defenses entirely? Where does it go?
Straight into the stomach, the intestines, or the uterus.
Hold on, how does that even work? How does temperature just bypass your immune system and teleport into your stomach?
Well, it happens because of extreme pre-existing vulnerability. Say you have a habit of consuming tons of iced drinks and raw foods.
Guilty as charged.
Right. Well, doing that constantly lowers the local defenses of the stomach. So when you're exposed to severe external cold, it doesn't need to fight through the surface layers. It just gets pulled straight into the stomach.
Wow, like a magnet.
Yes. And the result is immediate acute vomiting. If it hits the intestines, you get severe diarrhea. In the uterus, it causes acute dysmenorrhea.
The enemy is just suddenly inside the gates.
Exactly. No warning sneezes, no surface chills, just an immediate internal strike.
That is wild. Okay, so that's the external stuff, but what about the internal factors?
Hmm.
Because the text says these are generated by internal disharmony.
Right, and there are two huge ones we need to focus on here. Key stagnation and blood stasis.
Okay, let's start with key stagnation.
Yeah.
The text mentions that the most common cause of this in Western patients is emotional strain.
Yes. Anger, worry, even grief.
But how does having a stressful day at the office actually knot up my energy? Like, mechanically?
Think about it physically. When you're furious, your jaw clenches, your shoulders hike up, your breathing gets shallow.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Right. And grief, for instance, actually depletes the lung qi, which impairs circulation in your chest. The emotion creates a physiological constriction that literally traps the qi.
So it's stuck. And the cardinal symptom of this trapped key is distension, right?
Yes, distension is the absolute hallmark of qi stagnation.
Okay, but real talk. Most English-speaking patients don't walk into a clinic and say, "Doctor, I'm experiencing distension." They usually just say, "I feel super bloated."
Exactly. It's that feeling of being blown up like a balloon, whether it's in the abdomen, the chest, or even the throat.
But the text is very clear that key stagnation is functional, right? Like it does not cause serious Western diseases like cancer or heart disease.
Right, because it's a non-substantial pathogen. You can't put stagnant qi in a petri dish.
But this brings up a massive question for me. If emotional stress causes key stagnation, and that's just functional, but blood stasis is what causes the really serious structural diseases.
Ah, I see where you're going.
Yeah, like can being chronically stressed eventually lead to a stroke in this framework?
What's fascinating here is the domino effect. So blood stasis doesn't usually arise directly from emotions,
Okay.
but emotional strain causes the qi to stagnate. And if the qi, the vital force that actually moves your blood, is stuck for long enough, the blood eventually stops moving too.
And it congeals.
Yes, it becomes blood stasis. It's a chain reaction. A functional problem eventually thickens into a structural, physical blockage.
Wow. And blood stasis is no joke. The text describes the pain as stabbing, fixed, boring pain.
It is severe.
And it's associated with dark colors, right? Like purple lips, purple nails, a purple tongue.
Yes. And unlike key stagnation, blood stasis can directly cause those serious diseases, stroke, heart disease, tumors.
Because it's literally blocking the physical pathways.
Exactly.
Okay, so speaking of chain reactions and thick fluids, let's talk about the heavy hitters of the internal pathogens. Because the source material highlights a few specific ones that are just notorious for creating massive chronic problems.
Oh, definitely. We have to talk about dampness, phlegm, and fire.
Yes. Let's hit internal dampness first.
So dampness is basically characterized by three things: heaviness, dirtiness, and stickiness.
Okay, break that down for me.
Heaviness is that feeling of lethargy, like your limbs are made of lead. Dirtiness manifests as things like cloudy urine or oozing eczema.
Oof, okay. And stickiness.
Stickiness is quite literal, like having a sticky taste in your mouth or a tongue coating that is thick and sticky. Even the pulse feels soggy to the
Oh,
practitioner.
soggy. That's such a visceral word. It really sounds like a swamp.
It really is an internal swamp. It functionally impairs your body's ability to transform and transport fluids.
Okay, then there's phlegm. And here's where it gets really interesting for me.
Oh, phlegm is a massive topic in this medicine.
Yeah, because in this system, phlegm isn't just like what you cough up when you have a cold.
No, not at all.
It sounds more like a sticky sludge or like glue that gets stuck in the body's gears, slowing everything down.
That is a perfect analogy. Phlegm is both a condition and a cause of disease. It's an accumulation of fluids, which is yin in nature, and because it's so heavy and cold, it actually injures your yang energy.
So it's actively putting out your internal fire.
Exactly. It's incredibly sticky, it heavily obstructs the qi mechanism, and it's what causes soft, painless lumps in the body.
Like goiters or nodules.
Right. But it gets worse because phlegm is highly mobile.
Why it moves around.
It follows qi everywhere. It can rise up and obstruct the orifices of the heart, causing cognitive issues. It can harass the liver.
Wow.
And crucially, phlegm harbors dead blood. It traps blood stasis, creating this horrible, vicious circle where the sludge and the congealed blood reinforce each other.
That sounds impossible to clear out. The text actually has some famous quotes about this, doesn't it?
It does. The medical maxims are, in strange diseases, treat phlegm. And if you can see phlegm, treat phlegm.
In strange diseases, treat phlegm. So when a case is super confusing, it's usually this invisible sludge.
Exactly. Because it connects seemingly unrelated symptoms. You might have an elderly patient with palpitations, chronic constipation, severe insomnia, and a weird, bitter taste in her mouth.
To a Western doctor, that's like 4 different specialists.
Right. A cardiologist, a gastroenterologist, a sleep specialist. But in this system, it's often diagnosed simply as phlegm heat, messing up multiple organ systems simultaneously.
That is wild. Okay, so you mentioned phlegm heat. Let's talk about the difference between heat and fire, because the text makes a big distinction.
It really does. So heat is basically just excess yang energy. You'll see a red face, feeling hot, maybe some thirst.
Like turning the thermostat up a little too high.
Right, but fire is a pathological extreme. It is much more intense, and it's considered more solid.
Solid fire, what does that mean?
Well, while heat just warms things up, fire aggressively blazes upwards. It violently dries out your body's fluids.
Oh, yikes.
And it specifically affects the blood vessels, causing them to hemorrhage or bleed.
Because the fire literally scorches the vessels.
Yes, and because it blazes upwards, it heavily impacts the mind, or the shen.
So it rises up into the head.
Exactly. Fire is what causes severe insomnia, extreme agitation, and even severe mental illness in this framework. The heat literally harasses the mind.
Okay, so we've got all these internal and external villains. Dampness, phlegm, fire, wind. How does a practitioner actually look at you sitting in the clinic and know what treatment strategy to use?
That all comes down to determining if the battle is full or empty.
Right, going back to the title of the chapter. So
Yeah.
tell me about a full condition. They call it Shi, right?
Yes, Shi. It basically means solid. A full condition means there is a pathogenic factor actively present, and your upright qi is relatively intact.
So the body has the resources to fight back.
Exactly. And because both sides are strong and actively fighting, the symptoms are incredibly severe and intense.
Like a really high fever or pain so bad you can't go to work.
Yes, acute, loud symptoms. It can be an internal or external issue, acute or chronic, but the key is that it's an active, intense clash.
Okay, so what about an empty condition?
An empty condition is characterized almost entirely by a deficiency of the upright qi. The defenses are down.
So the symptoms are different.
Very. They are much milder. Instead of sharp, screaming pain, it's a dull, lingering ache.
Because the body doesn't even have the energy to mount a proper fight.
Exactly. There's no epic battle happening. And these are almost always internal chronic deficiencies that develop very slowly over years.
Like ruining your spleen chi from a decade of a terrible diet.
Or depleting your kidney qi from years of working 80-hour weeks, yes.
Okay, if I'm understanding this, tell me if this analogy works.
Let's hear it.
A full condition is kind of like a loud, blaring smoke alarm, right? Because there's an active fire and the battery is fully charged, so the alarm is screaming.
I love that, yes.
And an empty condition is like that annoying low battery chirp.
Yeah.
There might not even be a fire, but the system itself is failing and asking for help.
That is a brilliant way to look at it. And it explains exactly why diagnosis is so critical for you, the patient.
Why?
Because if you have a full condition, that blaring smoke alarm with an active fire, and you take tonics, like ginseng or something, to build up your energy,
You're throwing gasoline on the active fire.
yes, you have to clear the pathogen first, put the fire out before you charge the battery.
That makes so much sense. But, I mean, life isn't always a clean-cut, full or empty scenario, right? The body is complicated. What happens when the body is under attack, but the defenses are already completely depleted?
Ah, yes, the messy middle. The source text outlines 6 hypothetical situations, but the most fascinating are definitely the mixed full empty conditions.
Okay, give me an example of that.
The classic modern example is post-viral fatigue syndrome.
Oh, wow. Okay, how does that work in this framework?
So you have a strong pathogenic factor lingering, often dampness, but it meets a severely deficient upright qi. The body tries to fight, but it does so completely ineffectually.
Because the battery is low, but the fire's still smoldering.
Exactly. So it just becomes this protracted, miserable condition that lingers for months or years, neither getting better nor worse. It's a stalemate.
It sounds exhausting.
It is. Another example is the elderly. They often have a very serious, full condition of phlegm, but existing right alongside a simultaneous deep, empty condition of the spleen and kidneys.
So they have the sticky sludge blocking things, but no energy to clear it out.
Right. And you have to remember, pathogens and upright chi are not fixed in place. They constantly interact.
What do you mean?
External wind can push deeper and change into internal heat. Dampness heavily weakens your chi, and then that weakened chi leads to the creation of even more dampness.
It's a vicious loop. So for the listener who's hearing this and thinking, well, great, I'm stuck in a loop, how do you ever break the cycle? Are you just stuck in a stalemate forever?
Not at all. Because the body fundamentally wants to win.
It does.
Yes, the text points out that if given even half a chance, upright chi can and does expel pathogens on its own.
Even without acupuncture or a huge bag of herbs?
Absolutely. Sometimes simply changing dietary habits is enough. If you stop eating heavy, damp-producing foods, you give the upright chi just enough of a break to resolve the dampness on its own.
Wow, so you just lighten the load and the body does the rest.
Exactly. The body is incredibly resilient if you just stop getting in its way.
So, stepping back to look at this whole deep dive, Chinese medicine pathology really is this incredibly dynamic story. It's the story of your body's resources, your upright qi, constantly battling invaders and internal blockages.
It's a living ecosystem, not a machine.
Right. And by framing your symptoms as either full or empty, it provides a totally different, nuanced lens for viewing illness.
It really does. And, I want to leave everyone with a final thought to mull over.
Let's hear it.
In modern times, we are completely obsessed with identifying the pathogenic factor. We want to name the exact virus, sequence the specific bacteria, label the exact syndrome.
You want a name for the enemy.
Right, but this ancient text suggests that the actual identity of the disease matters way less than the balance of power between the disease and your own vitality.
Wow, that flips everything.
It does. It asks you to consider a different question. Instead of just waking up and asking, what am I sick with? Perhaps we should be asking, how strong is my upright chi today? And what am I doing to support my side of the battlefield?
Man, that is such a powerful reframe. Support your side of the battlefield. Well, I want to thank you all for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning, keep exploring what supports your upright chi, and we will see you next time.